and you say, this is what this house has, and it's priced at $465, and you don't have that. This is where your actives are going to come in. If they're ready to go on now, this is where they're going to come in, where you feel much more comfortable pricing it where it belongs. You don't want to start out overpricing it. Those first 2-3 weeks on the market are critical. If you're not sold then, you will be reducing. Okay? It's just the way that it is. I try to build in, and this might be your question, I try to build in about a 3% list to sale price. All right, for negotiation reasons. All right, I also look at the way that the internet works and how people do their searches. They search in $25,000 or $50,000 increments. So please don't list something for $477,000. You might be missing that $475 buyer. Okay? Don't list something for $405,000 or $409,000. You're missing the people that are going to $4. Okay? The search engines are important. You're better off pricing it where it belongs and getting full price offers or close to than going over those couple and trying to negotiate. You know, they remember that whatever book they wrote, always offer 10% less than the ask price? That's bullshit. Okay? If the house is priced right, it's gonna go for full price or very close to it. All right, and you're coming in with an offer 10% less, they're gonna be insulted. And you're gonna know, you will know when you go into homes. All right, so that is your range of value.
So the 422, what I know, which is your adjusted comparable price under low, right? That's telling me that the subject house, no, wait, that's saying the lowest the subject house should go for is 422,190?
It could.
That's what that means.
Okay, now, the next thing to do though is, let's go to the other pages. All right, what you really should do is, we only did the 3 comps here. What I do is I will then look at the comps that are in there and I will say that this particular home or 2 homes, whatever it may be, are the closest to yours. All right, are the most similar. I didn't have to do as much. The locations were the most similar. The condition was the most similar. I'm going to put my weight more on what they came out to than the whole general report. So let's just say this one on Johnson Lane with the pool. No, that's not because it had the pool. Let's just say this one on Terry Lane. That is the one out of all the comparables that I used in the report that really is the most similar to yours. So whatever that one adjusted out to, 449.5, is where I think you're going to come in around. So let's price accordingly. Okay? But always look at the ones, because some of them, like I said, might skew your report. Like that 422 one, the one that adjusted to 422, you did your adjustments, but it's still, your house is still nicer. It's still much nicer. Okay? So don't tell your people that, oh, by the way, your span is $50,000 here. They don't want to see that. So go look at the 1 or 2, whatever, that come out closest to what your house really does look like, and base it on those numbers with that as with the line as a backup. Okay?
Can you go back up again? I'm sorry.
To which one?
Square foot. No, come down on that page. We're just looking at the differences.
So all over in the right-hand side, this is where you're going to see, and this is when you sit down and you talk to your seller. You say, okay, this is what I did. It's line by line. All right? You all had 4 bedrooms. You all had 3 full bathrooms. Excuse me. You have 2.5 baths. That has 3 deaths. So I had to do an adjustment. And tell them, I go over everything. They say your square footage, I added $200 to the sale because your house is bigger. Only by $200, but it's not. But here, your house has smaller property size. This house has more. I had to take away that much money for the property size because they have a bigger piece of property. Okay? And you sit down, and once you do one of them with them, and they get it, then you say, okay, and then I did it for this, and I show them, you adjust it down to this, you adjust this one adjusted down, and I go through, I show them, and then I pull them back to the main page, and I say, okay, this is the main page, this is your lowest sale, your highest sale, your median and average, and then I go back to the report again, and I say, but this one, for pricing purposes, this 1 or 2 are really where I feel are most similar and where you should come in at.
If you don't mind, can you pull down again to the bottom to see what you came out with?
449, 540, which was right in the median, right? The median, the average were 444 to 449, and we just made this stuff up. So, but it works, and it takes, guys, it takes like the blame off of you. This is what an appraiser is going to do, and you have to tell them that. All right, that if you stay within these numbers, your house is going to appraise. Alright, you wanna shoot for the sun, the moon, and the stars, that's great, you may get it, I gave you that example in the beginning. Alright, okay, great, people got $638,000 for the house, did they walk away with that? No, they walked away with $613,500 or whatever it was, cause it didn't appraise. Okay, somebody may be willing to pay it, but when the appraiser comes in here, you wanna know that this deal's gonna be solid, and that 6 weeks later, the bank's gonna say, okay, we approved your loan, and your seller isn't sitting there going, okay, great, they didn't get their mortgage. Now I'm back to square one.
So is, anything different with land? Cause I'm actually working on another CMA now where, value can be in the land or the existing,
Yeah.
home. So
Yeah,
I
well,
think
they
that's
always
like
do,
two
an appraiser is gonna do a highest and best use. Alright, when they actually do, when you have a land issue, the best use might be for something else than what it is being used for now. Okay?
Okay, so am I correct in I'm doing two different CMAs, that's what I was planning to do.
Mm-hmm,
From the eyes of
sure,
land.
yeah,
And,
mm-hmm. And going into land and property size, I'm glad you kind of brought that up too.
Mhm.
You know, somebody might have an acre and a half of property, but only maybe a third of it is usable.
Right.
Alright, you gotta know that, you gotta know if that's wetlands or whatever it is, and then do not make the adjustment.
So the
Or
wetland-
don't use the adjustment, okay, most of the properties all have a third of an acre, but this one that I pulled out has an acre and a half, and I have to use it, because I don't have, otherwise I wouldn't even use it. Alright, but if it was really similar to your subject, use it, but only make the adjustment for whatever usable property there is. I know they're paying taxes on it, but if that property is not usable, you're certainly not giving them an extra $40,000 for land that can't be used.
So you have to, where, and you can find that out where, what's usable by the.
You don't.
You don't find out what's.
No, you gotta know, you kinda gotta know, you gotta look at pictures, you gotta know. If it goes off a cliff, and wetlands, these are funny. Like in New Jersey, it's so much better because they have like wetlands and flooding areas, and they tell you, right on the sites. We don't have any of that in Rockland.
Tax doesn't give you that info?
Nope. Yes, Maggie?
That's mine, thank you.
Okay.
Yes. Can you just talk a little bit more about, you were saying you add in like a percentage for the list versus.
Yeah, I'll look at it, like if I think this is gonna be somewhere around that 445 to 450 range, alright? I mean, depending upon what the seller wants to do they wanna price it right where it belongs and hope to get full price? Alright, they could keep it at that 450 number, alright, but I would typically add in about 3% for a list price, so whatever that may be, 464 or something, just so there would be some wiggle room. But again, look at your actives and what your active market is right then and what other stuff you have to, you're in competition with. Okay, anything else, guys?
Don't remove that from the screen.
I'm not doing anything.
How
It's
many-
very hard for a seller to dispute these numbers. You're not making it up. You're not coming in there with sheets of paper saying, this house sold for this house sold for that. What do you think? I still know agents that do it. Well, what do you wanna sell your house for? How much do you think it's worth?
What if they question you when you make an adjustment? Well, first, what if they question the main numbers that you have for like bathrooms? Where you get those figures from?
I never had anybody.
Okay, and what
Right,
about?
but those are appraisals,
they?
you just say that they're appraisal standards.
Okay.
And when the house is appraised, this is the number that they're going to use to derive your value.
Okay.
They are appraisal standards.
And what about if you're just doing a general one for condition?
I explained to them how I do it.
Okay.
I explained, it's did you have new windows and that one didn't? Did you have a new roof? And you both had new roofs, that's a wash.
Mm-hmm.
You have a finished basement, they don't, I go through it, I have to lump them all in.
Lynn,
You just brought something up.
you mentioned that, a lot of other brokerages, whatever, realtors won't do this. I mean, is this relatively rare?
No, what they'll do is, Maggie, you done with this?
Yes.
Okay.
They'll just pull them up without
They'll put
adjustment.
them in, and then you know what's gonna happen? See this?
Mhm.
This line is gonna be exact same as this line. That's what they do, because there's no adjustments made.
Okay. So in other words, I'm just,
Exactly the same.
so this is like a value add we bring. This is something.
Absolutely.
rare in the market. This is part
Absolutely.
of the whole pitch. Is that
Absolutely, I don't know
I
of
wanna make
anybody, because they don't have anybody I don't know of anybody that's been an appraiser, believe it or not. I don't know of anybody that has actually been an appraiser for any amount of time in this business except me.
Well,
That's why I
feel
teach
like
it.
that's huge. Thank you.
That's factual.
That's why I teach it. The difference with being staying in the business, like a real estate agent, it's very easy to stay in the business and to keep your license. All right, all you have to do is do your 22.5 hours of continuing education every year. I stopped doing it. Number one, I couldn't keep my eyes open anymore because it was just too much to cover. But the second thing is you have to do a minimal of like 2,000 hours a year to keep your appraisal license.
Of work, or of CE,
Work. So you have to do 2,000 hours of, and I don't even know if that's changed to more now, to keep your appraiser's license. And I was like, not doing it. I'm not doing it.
Isn't this pretty much what Zillow does?
Okay, I'm glad you brought that up. Zillow doesn't do any adjustments.
That's what I'm saying, like, what you
This is
just.
what Zillow- And
not
if you go
what we
on,
did,
if you
what
go on
we
Zillow and
sampled.
you look at your house every day, your own particular house,
Yeah.
your value changes every single day.
Yeah.
It changes every day, all right? And again, what I try to, you're gonna have that with people all the time. Well, my Z estimate says, you know, blah, 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 blah. I mean, I've got a house right now, it says my house is worth, you know, $875,000 and I have it on for $675. Please, really? You don't know the condition, you don't know the location. You're taking averages in an area of about a mile, I think, around, they do. All right, now, let's just say my subject property, I've got a freaking dump next door to me. All right, the house is falling down, the grass is, you know, 10 feet high. All right, you don't think that's gonna have an effect on my price of my house? It absolutely is. Zillow doesn't know that that house is there. You gotta explain this to your seller.
That's my
Okay.
point,
I
is
always
what
ask,
we do
let them
compared to
know,
Zillow
when was
and
the last
other.
time Zillow was in your house? Zillow never saw your house.
Right.
They came
Yeah.
in, they looked at your
Mhm.
update.
But people, I'm telling you, they're all over their Z estimates.
Yeah.
When, do these numbers ever fluctuate and change, like
Yeah.
the market, like how often?
Like I said in the beginning, I try to get my hands on a report like every 6 months to a year, and if I see changes with appraisers and what numbers they're using, I update the cheat sheet. I have seen some actually go up to $10,000 for a garage. I try to stay pretty conservative at 7. If you have a high-end listing, I know we asked that in the beginning, that's, it's not $50 a square foot, you can go up to $75, $100 a square foot, if you're really working at high end, okay? Orange County, their price per square foot is only $35, okay? Yeah,
Westchester?
their adjustment. Westchester, I don't know what their number is, and Westchester has so many different
I know you
areas
can
that,
have luxury.
yeah, exactly. So you'd really have to find out
Okay.
what they're using over there.
Once let's say we're used to doing these, you know, we got
Yeah.
a bunch of these under our belt, maybe 5, 10.
Mhm.
I mean, how long, maybe not you, but how long will it take us, let's say if you want to do it, 3 to 6 properly done CMA, fully adjusted? You talking an hour, 30 minutes, hour and a half, 10 minutes, 15 minutes? You know, when you're trying to kind of
Figure
get
on
some
figure on a solid hour.
solid hour.
All right. Again, it's a solid hour. It could be more. It's the back end loading everything, searching for your properties, and then once you do even have them loaded into the CMA thing, when you have to do the updates, that's the line that takes the most.
The
All right,
adjustment.
because you're comparing your house and you're looking at the pictures, you're looking at the remarks, you're comparing, you're writing numbers down, saying, okay, well, wait, I've got a roof, they don't have a roof, I have windows, they don't have a deck, I've got this, you know, and you're coming, you have to put that all into a lump sum on that line. So that's the line that takes the longest. The other stuff, the bathroom square footage, property size, that's easy. Boom, boom,
Yeah.
boom, 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 boom.
Okay.
But that update line is the one that's gonna reviewing the pictures, reviewing the notes, doing the math.
Got it, thank you.
Okay? But I'd say a solid hour, if not
Yeah,
two.
in the beginning, 2 hours easy, right?
Easy.
Yeah.
To do how many?
Easy. One.
Okay.
With 3 to 6 properties or something, right?
Yeah. Easy. It's gonna take you that long. Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, we just did 2 hours.
Oh, you're welcome.
To clarify, on your listing appointment, you're doing it this way, you're not pulling in expired, you're
Nope.
not,
I
you're
don't
only
bother.
bringing in active.
I don't bother. You can, you can if you want, I don't bother.
You just do the
And then
same.
contracts
I just
don't
do the
come in.
Under contracts, I will do if I need to. If the market has been changing, or if there's an under contract right in that specific area where my house is, I absolutely wanna use that under contract. I wanna see if I can get that price from the agent.
So you'll incorporate it into
Yes.
type of,
Yeah, I absolutely will, and then I'll put, like I said, we had that adjustment thing. If I can find out from the agent what it's sold for, I will,
that's what you meant by the market.
right, here, sold price adjustment. Because remember I said it's only gonna be
Yeah.
working off the sold price and the under contract only gonna have the list price. So we have to take that amount off of the list price. The list price to what it actually sold for, yeah. But yeah, if you've got a property that's under contract and it's right in the general area of your house that you're trying to price, you need that. You need that number. They know it. They're like, well, that house sold, it went under contract. How much did that get? You know, it's just like my house. You're gonna want it.
Is this the only CMA, you always do them through the MLS like this?
Yeah.
RPR has one that seemed pretty decent, where you can adjust.
You know what, I used
Not worth
RPR
it.
years ago, but I couldn't do this.
Okay.
So-
You can, I just did an hour video tutorial, but, I mean,
Can you do the adjustments in the
Yeah,
RPR?
yeah,
You
I
can?
can, yeah.
Okay.
it's pretty, it's a little pretty.
You couldn't, when it first came out,
I wonder, okay.
listen, Ben, as long as you can do adjustments,
That's the point,
it's the whole key.
okay.
Cause no one else is gonna come in and have all these things on the right-hand side.
I
They're
feel
just
like
not.
that's the key right there, that's
It's
the
the key.
value add, right?
Yes.
That's
It's
why
what
they
an
require you.
appraiser is going to do,
Yeah.
all
I
right?
think that's very
And
important.
that's the biggest thing here. You wanna make sure the house appraises.
I have a question based on some deals I'm working on. So, I don't know if this is applicable to an appraiser, but, I have, one potential property that has the variance and the building plans with it. How do you put the value on that? It's being sold with the variance and the building plans.
It's gonna depend upon how much you're gonna be able to get for those homes and how much it's gonna cost you to construct them.
So I gotta do a CMA on the potential it's gonna be built on. And then-
Potential use, yeah. It's a vacant lot?
It's like a tear down, it's not vacant, but.
Okay, tear down, that was gonna cost, the tear down itself will cost, so you have to factor that in too. The removal. Alright, and then what's it gonna cost to build it, you know, what will be a value of, you know, whatever, a 3,500 square foot house, if they're, you know, you have to find out what its actual value is going to be.
So some of this is not on the MLS, I have to find out how much the building, the cost of building, as well. Like call a contractor, is that?
What are you trying,
I'm trying to get like what would be,
you have the building plans, you have the building plans.
please send me the building plans.
Okay,
I have
so
variance.
you can do a CMA just based upon a brand new house and the square footage of that house and the amenities that it has, what it would actually sell for. This is what it would sell for, all right? Now, how much would it cost to construct something like that?
So that's the part I don't know,
I know,
so.
you gotta talk to a builder. Cause they're gonna wanna make a profit on it. There's some, I don't know what they're using it for.
Whoever's gonna buy it is gonna wanna make a profit on it, or whoever.
Well, unless they're gonna live there themselves.
Unless they're gonna live there and, you know,
Unless they're gonna live there themselves.
It's approved for two family, so
Mm-hmm,
it could be anyone, how to, you know,
yeah.
so I'm just trying to figure out how to best price it. I came up with a number, but I wanna.
Mhm. Right,
Um,
but how much are other properties going for
the finished product,
the finished
yeah,
product?
I did that.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. And then, how much am I going to pay? Because let's face it, I have to do all this work, I'm not gonna pay that amount of, you know, okay, so the house will be valued at this, it's gonna cost me X to do it, but my time and everything else that goes in there is also a factor, so how much am I actually gonna offer you for that property? Yeah, it's a long process.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be paying taxes on it when I can't live in it. The tear down cost, like I told you. Yeah, no. All right.
Don't, okay.
Don't.
I think that was a terrific
Very
presentation.
informative, thank you, Lynn.
Oh, you're
Thank
welcome,
you.
you're welcome. Where do you want me to be, Maggie?
I don't know, I lost someplace, in the low adjustments.
Where'd you lose?
407. Or if you could just email me, I appreciate it. Yeah, I tried to call everything. Oh, yeah, but that's what it said, you in detail. Cause I was, how do you do yours? It doesn't want my fingers. So, see, that's where you can see where you missing something here. Yeah, you're missing something right here. All right, you didn't do the minus 3,000 there.
Maybe that's where I'm on top.
Yeah, because I that one had a half a bath and this one didn't, so.
Pero
Oh, I'm sorry, that's a
I'm
top
gonna
positive.
came.
It's positively does.
How good was this?
I know. I thought it's like I thought it's like in my head CRN class, not C.
Oh, of
yeah,
course.
Because I'm like,
I
well,
know.
you know, I'm allowed to use it.
Yeah.
You know, so
This is-
yeah.
That's the best thing so far, I think.
I know.
I mean, seriously, I'm not joking. Yeah, this is great.
It doesn't have to be exact, so 6160, because
I love
it's
it.
bigger,
Can use
that's
for a lot of
minus,
things.
Yeah.
Driveway 7, updates, well, wherever I put 65, yeah, 449, 540, yeah, okay, that's fine. Yep, that's it, now, let's just go back and make sure that's right.
Nathan, you coming to lunch tomorrow, yeah?
Yeah.
But remember, like I said, guys, put the most weight on, in this whole exercise that we just did, the low, the median, and the high, look back at your comparables when you're done, pick one or two that you really think is the most similar to your subject, and put your most weight on that one, okay?
Awesome class, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome, good luck.
You want to see where?
Don't go crazy, it's okay, you just missed an entry somewhere. We were making the numbers up anyway.
I still want something to go by, for example.
Okay, so which number did I have up there?
My numbers are all off too. I mean,
422, 190?
Yeah,
That's the one I'm missing.
Yeah, so who was, so that's easy. So let's find the one that you had 407, 190. So let's find the one that came out to 407. So it wasn't that one.
sure.
This is the one. So this is the one where you don't have payments made. It didn't come out. So that was 30, yes, central slab, natural gas, baseboard, 5, minus 7. Hold on, which one was this again?
This is, I think this is, Gary?
No, television. This is West Fern. So something happened down in here. Let's just say.
Yeah, no, something happened down on,
I'm sorry, thank you.
it's okay.
Can I answer that?
Mm-hmm.
Not now, but
Yeah.
can I reach out to you for some questions that have some real, they're like kind of intricate, so.
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime, anybody, whenever you have trouble with these, just pick up the phone.
There's two upcoming appointments, and I'm gonna tackle it, and then I'm gonna let you know what the situation is.
You got it, sounds good.
Okay.
All right, do you have the numbers here? Do you have these for, this was West Fern, right, Maggie?
West Fern, yeah, where are we?
Yeah, so I have minus 3750, and then I have 440,
Right,
minus 7,
minus 7,
minus 7 for the 2-car garage, minus,
go ahead.
minus 5 for the electric,
Right.
okay, the heat. Updates plus 30,000, fireplace plus 5, and deck patio porch set plus 75.
I have that.
And you're not coming down to 422, 190?
No, I must have something else up further up. 3750? I'm sorry, I'm keeping them. Yeah, well, that's a sheet, that she put down those during the listing. Alright, so, on West
Yeah,
Fern.
okay, this is West Fern. 3750, 440, 7,000, 5,000.
This I felt really
Maybe
good
that's
when I did this for my buyers.
5,000, 7,000, the gas and that. Nothing on the base board, right?
Gas, on the gas, minus 5.
But this I felt comfortable
gas, on the gas, I do
I
have
just
minus
realized that I was
Yeah, it
as
looks like
detailed.
you had the same numbers as me.
Kim always coming in like fireplace, 5,000. 30,000 or 3,000 for the upstairs.
Oh, you did a minus. That's supposed to be a positive.
There you go.
You had 75, see what happens. There you go, that's it.
At least I have this then, that it's exact and I can go by this.
Yeah. You can, but again, I guessed on updates, that was number, we didn't even look at those properties, so, you know.
When we're first doing, like, I'm brand new to
Yeah.
this, right, so,
Mhm.
I mean, is it current to send, really what I want to send one to your estimate price, like, for a check?
I would rather sit down with you and do it,
house.
Oh,
and
then
look
you're
at
using
those
time.
I would rather sit down than
And I
have
feel like that should.
me have to look at all the comps and do all, yeah, it's just easier.
Wait, what do you
Slow.
recommend people do?
I was trying to
Just kind of learn by
remind
doing? Or
Yeah,
do that?
you do
sit-
practice it, but again, a big part of this is learning your inventory and actually seeing
Well, my
houses.
plan is whatever.
So,
you say.
yeah, and knowing, never mind, you don't need me anymore?
I always need you.
What do you need?
Oh, no, I couldn't find it, I was checking, and I was tearing my office apart, so, no, I found it.
Oh, okay,
It's
good,
slipped on
I
my
have gems in
keyboard.
that one.
It slipped on my keyboard.
Okay, I know you were gonna give it to me, and I'm like, no, I'm not gonna see
I
it,
was
so.
tearing my
Okay.
office apart trying to find it.
So what I did is before I can see.
You could just ask me.
I found it.
Okay, all right, Mike.
Lynn, also, I mean, you've been doing this a long time, you don't need me to tell you this, but,
And then this.
as far as being new to KW, this has been the single most.
That'll cover it if I miss anything.
Oh,
I
thanks,
swear to God.
thanks. Well, this is, this is such a big part of what you do, this is, you're working with your buyers and your sellers, you've gotta determine value, it's all about value,
I really thank you.
Okay, thanks, I wasn't too all over the place, cause sometimes I'm like all over.
No, are you kidding me? 'Cause we accomplished a ton and you were very, you explained it all very clearly.
Thank you so much,
Yeah.
thank you.
It also helped me because, I'm so new, so I'm still struggling with the whole, like, how do I authentically convey to the seller the value I'm gonna, the difference
Bring
between me
to the
and
table.
somebody else, so.
That,
I don't
this
wanna
will,
lie,
this
I wanna
will,
be like.
but this will
real.
set you apart.
And that's why I was focusing on that,
Yeah,
cause
yeah.
that's like, I don't like the bullshit, cause I'm blah, 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 I wanna know exactly
Right,
what I'm
right.
gonna do that other people aren't, So, thanks.
Got it.
So that summary page is the page that you were
Thank
looking
you.
at?
You're welcome, Sharon.
Awesome.
Bye.
See you, Sharon,
That what?
that brief summary compared listings, that's the listing compare, I have all these out here.
Oh, yeah, that's a page, and I always include that, okay? Always give your, in here, venue too.
Yes, ma'am.
That's one of the things, some of these things you're not gonna want, some of these pages you won't care about, they don't really have a lot of information on them. Like, if you know your people aren't really graph people, don't print it,
Okay.
okay?
Yeah, I'll leave the
But can
custom.
you go up a little bit? The maps, you're not gonna need the maps.
Well, you had that photo, I took that photo of your list.
Of mine, okay.
I mean, I
But
think
there's
you
a lot of
copied
just
yours.
stuff in here that I would, they're not gonna sit down and look at.
That's why I took yours.
But the one that you just had though, Maggie,
Yeah, that way down the bottom, which way, back down again?
yeah, I think it was back down.
Yeah.
Where it gives the picture of the comparable house and the whole printout of it, you wanna make sure that they see all those, so they can see the comparables and the line by line that you did, but then they get the whole
The
description.
whole house after that,
Yes,
one by
see
one.
this?
Yes.
See this?
Yeah.
This is all pulled from the pro report.
Yeah.
So they see the house, they see the description, they see the bathrooms, they see the square footage, they see all of that. But there's a lot of repetitive garbage in here that, like I said, I
What?
don't use.
Assuming we do the CMA with the categories you use only, the minimal categories, not all that stuff,
Yeah.
you know,
And don't forget, even if you put them in there, you can always just say print pages 1 through 9 and then 11 through 15,
what percentage of sellers care?
I know, they really want the number.
No, I mean, I'm not questioning the value of this, I love it, I'm gonna do it, because I wanna get better at this, but at the end of the day, when it comes to brass tacks,
Yeah.
in your experience, how many sellers actually care about this?
The,
Like, do they use
the
this?
CMA?
Yeah.
Oh my God, my people usually are blown away with it.
Okay,
yeah.
good, no, that's good, and then they say, I'm
Yeah,
not a believer.
no,
I just
I
didn't
mean,
know.
I have gotten so many listings because of this,
Okay.
that, sellers right off the top of my head, that
Great.
they're just like, nobody gave us anything like this.
Perfect.
They
Well,
just
that's all I
came in
need
and
to know.
and it makes sense,
Yeah.
some people it makes sense to, some people it doesn't, but, I mean, when you have someone just coming in and kind of just saying, oh, yeah, let's go on for 525, I think that's where you get that from?
You wanna see,
Where you getting that from?
Yeah.
But it works for a lot of people,
And just to
so,
clarify, this is, of course, you can only do this, you've already signed the deal to sell their house.
no.
No, this is
Oh,
before
no.
that.
Oh, no, a lot of times you're 3 or 4 agents they're interviewing.
Yep.
So,
That's right, so this is part of the pitch.
this is part of the pitch.
So how have you haven't gone through their house then?
I have, no, if I get a call for an appointment, someone wants me to come over to price their house.
Yes.
I make the appointment, I do like I said, I go in there with my clipboard, I take all my notes, I tell them in, 3 or 4 days, I will be back in contact with them
Okay.
to sit down and go over the report.
I get it,
you do
okay.
it 2-part.
I do a 2-part at all times.
And so your initial pitch, like say you're at the grocery store.
And I give them my pre-listing package.
That's,
My pre-listing
that's when
thing.
you do the walkthrough.
No, no.
So what do you
There's
use for a pre-listing package? I mean, do you just bring out the paperwork or?
No, I don't put paperwork in it at all. It's a pre-listing presentation that I have with everything, with my value proposition
Okay.
and everything that I'm gonna do for you to sell your house.
I
Keller
see,
Williams
okay,
has
yeah,
one.
okay.
Keller Williams has one on their internet that you can use and change it. 'Cause
Yeah.
the one on Keller Williams,
It's probably 1,000
you
pages.
have to take things out that we don't do in this area,
Yeah.
don't forget, that's a general one. So, there are pages in there that you're gonna say, no, I'm not gonna use this, and then you can just copy it, and then you can do it the way you want to. But I leave them with the pre-listing package, so when I come back, do you have any questions about, what I'm gonna do for you? Did we get a chance to go through the thing? They're impressed by the pre-listing package, but they're also, when you sit down, you show them a report like that, and it's numbers, and like I said, there's no way to dispute those numbers. It's
Let's say somebody, like, you get a referral, my friend Jack wants to sell his house, right? Boom, you contact Jack, you gotta convince him to let you come have the appointment, right? Like,
well, he called you, he wants you to have the appointment. They
Okay,
typically call you,
okay, yeah, so you go that very first,
or unless you're calling expireds, withdrawals, whatever, and you're
Let's
trying to
say
get
not
in,
that
and you're
scenario.
trying to get in the door, you're trying to get in the door.
so
But if
you
they
go-
call you, you're in the door, they want an appointment with you.
Okay, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, they want you, they're calling you, they want you, and you tell them, explain to them, I just wanna let you know, I do a two-step process. Just make the appointment first, and then when you get there, explain to them and say, I just wanna let you know how I work, if we're gonna, right now, we're just gonna walk around the house, I'm gonna ask you a lot of questions, I'm gonna take a lot of notes, and then I'm going to get all this information, and I'm gonna put it in a report format for you, and I will call you in whatever, 4 or 5 days, and we'll set up a time to meet again, is that okay? How
Okay,
does that sound? They're like, okay, fine.
is that common for agents to do a two-step?
I don't know. I don't think they do because they don't do this.
Yeah, yeah, okay, cause it sounds like it's a hard thing to convince somebody now, if it's twice you have like.
Never.
No,
Never.
I shouldn't worry about that.
Never,
See, this is very valuable to me, okay,
never,
okay.
no. That's,
feel like-
you know what? You're being thorough. You're
Yeah.
not just guessing the price of that house.
Yeah,
All right? You've gotta go back now and do some people will do upfront work, like if they know they're gonna go see a bi-level, whatever, they can do some upfront work and say, okay, well, I think you can, list it for blah, 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 blah. I just don't, because even if I did the upfront work, I don't know what I'm walking into. I could be walking into an absolutely dynamite, phenomenally updated home, or I could be walking into a dump.
Yeah.
All right, so all that back end work that I did, now what number am I coming in at?
I mean, and that's true, you could go in and you could go in with
Preconceived,
preconceived notion and have
Notion.
some.
and everything
It's a
changes
bylaw,
once you
I
walk in the
pulled-
door.
Yeah, I pulled all these, but, okay, well, roughly, okay, and you walk in the door and you say, oh, we gotta go back again,
That's it, you're just,
okay.
that's why I'm telling you, I've never,
So where does the pre-listing presentation come in then? Because in that
the pre-listing
scenario-
package.
The pre-listing package, I'm sorry.
That is what I leave with them when I initially meet with them for the first time. I just say, listen, this is for you.
Okay.
I said, this is my services to you, look through it. If you have any
Okay.
questions, we can address them when I
So
come
that
back.
first meeting you've gone in, you do that walkthrough,
Uh-huh.
when
Yeah.
you leave them the pre-listing
Yes,
package.
absolutely.
I'll see you guys in 3-4 days, then
Yeah.
you come back.
I'll give you a
That's
call
how
in 3 or 4
okay.
days when it's prepared, and we'll sit down and review it.
Alright, so there's a lot of value in that pre-listing package, you think, leaving that with them?
I don't know. I don't know how many people actually look at it and don't. They're more concerned with,
Bottom line is the
they're
bottom
more
line.
concerned with that CMA.
Yeah, they want the bottom
Yeah,
line.
they want the number. But you know what? It's professionalism.
Yeah. Yeah, leave them a nice folder.
Exactly. Yep.
Okay.
About you,
Yeah.
your experience, whatever, again, they always say your value proposition, come up with a value proposition, you'll do that in your launch classes
Yeah,
and stuff.
I'm already,
Yeah,
working on
exactly,
that. Okay.
exactly.
Wow,
Okay.
well, that was, last few minutes is very helpful.
Yeah, okay,
Thank you
good,
so much.
good, you're welcome.
Thank you so much, Lynn, you're always great.
Oh, thanks,
Do
Maggie.
you do other regular presentations, like other subjects?
I do this one a few times a year, probably 3 or 4 times a year. I know they got me signed up to do something else.
I'll see it on the calendar.
Yeah, it's coming up in February. Something with a deal, like,
Closing the deal.
yeah,
Always be
closing
closing.
the deal or something.
Well,
I
it's because of
forget.
ABCs.
I forget.
All right,
But I know that-
thank you very much.
Okay, you're welcome.
Oh, you're very nice to meet you.
Oh.
Have a good evening. Take care, guys.
See you. Thank you, Lynn.
I gotta go in and get Amanda now. Now we're echoing and that thing is still going.
Yeah. Now you're echoing.
And see, I need to have exact so that I can mail
take my notes.
Call me,
okay, and
Maggie,
be able to show.
Maggie, you run into any trouble, you just call me.
You're terrific. Thank you.
You're welcome,
Because it's, everybody does something different, everybody has their own way of doing it, but when it comes down to actually doing it, CMA, you need to have, exactly what's going on. I mean, heck, just like this program, just all the extra pieces of paper, the junk needs to be not a CMA, like 50 pages.
No,
Who the heck
no,
is all
no, no, that's why I tell people, I know it's all there for you, but if you have a pre-listing package, that should be in the pre-listing package, it shouldn't be in your CMA, they're only looking at the numbers in the CMA, they're not looking at all the other fluff, you know, yeah.
And unless they're, they're people and flyer people and.
Well, that's it, you know, but that's knowing your, right, that's knowing, if you can get a read on your people when you first meet them, you know.
I do have a question.
Yeah.
The quiz, the quiz, just watch that.
They run them through some program, I'm trying to remember, broker metrics. You can ask for them, yeah.
And it's in, but you have to have somebody head pull up, right?
Yeah, we have the administrators have it, so, but I know they've been doing them at the meetings, and they're supposed to be sharing them on some site. Whenever there's charts and graphs, they share them somewhere.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Because they'll go through and just pull up.
Susan McMullen probably knows where they are. I'm sure Susan knows where they are. Yeah, the team leader always knows where they are, but naturally we're without that right now. But I bet you Susan knows. Amanda Tierney might even know. But I know at the meetings, whatever they put up on there, they say, okay, it's gonna be on, it could be in a Google Drive, actually.
Yeah, see, and again, I mean, this is all stuff online.
I know, and I don't even really use Google Drive, but I know we have something where they store all our stuff that we can go on to the KW and Google Drive and just pull it right off.
See, that's interesting, yeah. You know who's gonna know all this stuff is what's her name?
Kristen.
She's the one.
She absolutely will, yep.
Thank you,
The broker
sweetie.
metrics, I know, like, if you just wanna run it, we used to be able to run it ourselves, and then they did it for, it's very expensive. It's a very expensive program that we pay for every month.
Okay.
So it was less to just do it for administrators, so you can just have the administrators run it. Yeah, okay?
Thank you so much.
No problem.